Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. I was on my public support group, which is a forum that I set up for survivors of narcissistic abuse, or people who've been in toxic relationships can come on there and post freely and help support each other and lift each other up, and basically a positive space in the community for survivors. So I was reading one of the posts that someone stated, and a lot of survivors go on there and express their feelings or what they're struggling with in that given moment. And this survivor said they found it hard to accept the fact, my phone had to dim, the fact that their ex-narc never loved them. And then they said, I mean, he sure stayed around for a long time, emphasis on long. Anyone else battle with that in their head? And a lot of survivors did go under that post and said that they were battling with that. So I did want to make this quick video reply to help that survivor get some insight to into what could be going on subconsciously here. And with me talking to so many survivors and researching this, what I've come to find out about this type of perspective. Okay, so right off the rip here, before I even get even deeper into this, the fact that she equated love with the length of time of knowing someone or the length of time of being in a relationship, that speaks to confusion right there. And a lot of times when you've been in a toxic relationship or a string of toxic relationships, and then, if this started from your childhood, there's a lot of confusion about what love actually is to begin with. So right then and there, it's definitely going to be a toxic perception to think that love equates to the amount of time that someone spends with someone. All right. So right off the rip, I just wanted to point that out. That's definitely, love is not based off of time per se. Love is an action word. It's based off of actions. All right. And with that being said, there has to be some level of denials going on here. Chances are minimizing of red flags. So either this survivor may have been ignoring these red flags, minimizing these red flags, or wanting to escape having to acknowledge or fully acknowledge those red flags. Now, why would somebody want to do this? Well, it may hurt more. It may hurt her feelings more initially to have to face the truth of things, and then perhaps those might trigger feelings of being used, of being rejected, and feeling sad overall. So a lot of times we want to run from those feelings because that's an uncomfortable feeling, and who wants to really feel that way per se. But in these situations when we're dealing with these narcissists, that can certainly happen. So if we want to linger in the space of denial here, it actually could allow us to temporarily run from or escape a harder feeling of just sitting in the truth, sitting in that raw truth right there. All right. In addition to that, I want to point out that there has to be some level of illusions going on as well. And denial and illusions are two separate things here. Now, the illusion part of it is accepting that narcissist mask versus the reality of who that person really is. Now, meeting that fake representative in the beginning of the relationship when you're being love bombed and that person is sweeping you off your feet and trying to be on their best behavior and basically trying to convince you that they are something that they really aren't. And they're trying to convince you of that long enough for you to, become a little cemented in your perception of what that person is. So that's the illusions right there. And then again, escaping, or that escapism aspect of it, of wanting to latch on to those illusions, because that's a lot more kinder to believe that they're that person versus the person that they are, and all the other aspects of the cycle of abuse when you're being devalued and discarded. All right. I mean, just off a sure weight there, that's 1 out of 3. So 2 out of 3 times they're that other person versus the 1 out of 3 times where, they're coming off as being someone that's good when they're not. And then when we look at the bigger picture, 3 out of 3 times, they're really the person in the reality. It's just that they're being a con artist in step 1, okay, in the love bomb aspect of things. All right. So another aspect of this that I want to point out to this survivor is, survivors have egos too. We do. And sometimes we might think something toxic like, I was the one who loved you even though you gave me 1,000 times not to. Or the ego might say, I love them so much. How could they not love me? And these are toxic thoughts as well, because when someone doesn't love you, you can love them all you want. It's just not going to be reciprocated at that point. And the fact that you love them, even though they gave you 1,000 times not to, would bring me to another aspect of this situation. And, what often goes on here, and that's us being distracted from ourselves. And the real question of, do you love yourself here? All right, do you love yourself? That's the real question, not do they love you at that point now that the relationship is over and they've proven that they've been toxic in your life. All right, so I definitely don't want you to get so caught up in trying to figure out and play things through your mind and being focused on the what ifs and trying to find validation for what you want the most. So if you want it to not be true, you'll be working to try to find a validation. But they did this, but they did that, because you're looking for a way to latch on to the denial and the illusions at that point. And, it's another form of escapism going on there. All right, so I want to say this as well. Pure hearts often do trust more than they should. But I want to reach as many pure hearts as I can with a channel like this, so that the pure heart will have as much emotional maturity as possible, to where it won't be a naive heart, if you will. Okay? I want you to also be able to see the positive and new beginnings and refreshing yourself and taking the lessons. Because a lot of times when we're struggling with the fact that we don't believe this person loved us, is because them not loving us appears to be worse, or the bad side, versus them loving us. You see what I'm saying? If you start to look at it as, okay, all right, this person doesn't love me. At least I can walk in my truth now. At least I don't have to waste my time with this person. At least I can, get them out of my circle, and the self-sabotaging and all the trauma. And, loving this person was challenging anyway. And now that I know they don't love me, what a headache I don't have in my life now. I don't have to rescue them and clean up their messes. And you never had to do it to begin with, but, taking this on because of your perception of them loving you. And, this is actually such a freeing moment to move into acceptance here, that in realizing and latching onto the truth that they never loved you. Okay, so ultimately, a lot of times in these situations, we're fighting against ourselves here, because it's the perceptions that we want to hold on to, and because we wanted it to be what we wanted it to be here. All right, but I definitely don't want you to be shooting down your self-worth here and to start to feel like you're unlovable, and definitely not taking all the blame in this situation. Yes, you can take accountability for what you can become stronger in, your perceptions and reading people and seeing the red flags and all of these things, but their ability to not receive love, their ability to not reciprocate, all of that stuff is their issue. Okay, is definitely their issue. Okay, and the next thing that I want to say here is just being the devil's advocate here. What if they did love you? Let's just say that person did love you. Should you then be the sacrificial lamb? And is that the kind of love? Is their way of quote unquote loving you sustainable, susceptible to your peace of mind and your happiness and your overall well-being here? So even if that person did love you, does it mean that you should be together with them? You see what I'm saying? Toxic people, they're incapable of loving in a healthy manner. And why should you sacrifice being able to have healthy love or healthy relationship and give up on all of that and be miserable with them, basically? All right, so I definitely don't want you to keep stumbling over something that's already been ruled on, or this something that you already have behind you, but yet you're dragging with you into your present, if you will. Okay? So I hope that, this little powwow here is, helping someone to make sense of, why am I having a hard time with accepting that this narcissist never loved you? Okay, they're, in addition to, yeah, they can be cunning and charming at certain times, and it may feel real, but just because it felt real doesn't mean that it was sincere, obviously, because then it wouldn't have been followed up by all those poor behaviors, all of those times of that person dropping the ball, not being there for you. And then in some cases, the narcissist might have flat out literally came and told you in their fit of rage that they never loved you anyway. All right. And although there are people that can say things that they may not fully mean in the fit of their rage, in healthy relationships, there's boundaries, and just some things just should never even come out of their mouth. And non-narcissistic people might, oh, that's really toxic. Come to think about it, if they're saying that out of their anger and they don't really mean it. It's still just a red flag of a person that's severely emotionally immature there and reckless with their mouth. All right, so hopefully, replay this if you need. And I've said a whole bunch of things here to help see where you fit in with this. The whole idea is to get out of that black hole of trying to find a validation and trying to make it into what you wanted it to be, and just go ahead on and step into the light and release it. Release that understanding that it's okay. It's okay. Don't make it the end of your world. Don't give it that type of weight in your life. And I understand some of you spent a substantial amount of time with this person, and perhaps you were struggling with your self-worth, and you kept wanting it to be something else. And those denials and those illusions are something that you're really going to have to work on when you're doing the work, so that you don't bring that lesson into your next relationship. Okay? Because time is definitely something that we can't get back. All right? But if it took you that amount of time to get the lesson this time, respect it and honor it so that you can truly close that chapter, you guys, and move forward. All right? So I hope that this helped you again. And I do offer and provide one-on-one services through coaching. You can go to my website, lakiacrawford.com, and see all the type of appointments that you can set up with me, voice calls and FaceTime, half an hour, 1 hour. And then, coaching bundles where you can get hours worth of coaching services and use them as you need. And I even have text messaging packages as well, you guys. All right. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. It helps to grow the channel. And never give up on yourself, of course. Continue to do the work. And until next time, please take care.